The Trump team wants Republicans to hit reset on one of the president's signature issues, and it's stirring up the GOP. Mass deportations, a critical campaign promise from candidate Trump 2 years ago. The party even printing the slogan on signs at the Republican National Convention and making it clear it would be a priority of his second term.
The largest
deportation
in the history of our country,
history of the United States,
American history.
Now, a tonal transformation. A source familiar with the matter tells NBC News that White House Deputy Chief of Staff and key Trump strategist James Blair told Republicans they should shift their message from mass deportations to focusing on the removal of violent criminals. As the GOP fights to hold on to the House majority by the skin of their teeth in November's midterms, some top Republicans recognizing the need to rebrand.
Some of the immigration enforcement was viewed to be overzealous, and, everybody can describe it differently, but here's the good news. We're in a course correction mode right now.
And it isn't hard to see why. The mass deportation agenda has drawn significant criticism over the last year, with high-profile 2024 Trump supporters like Joe Rogan questioning the administration's approach early in his term.
You can't deport gay hairdressers seeking asylum. That's crazy. And then throw them in an El Salvador prison.
Then protests over ICE raids built nationwide, accelerating after the deadly shootings by federal agents of 2 U.S. citizens, Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Our new NBC News poll shows 56% of Americans have a negative view of immigration and customs enforcement. Only Iran is viewed more negatively. But the Trump team's potential shift has left some on the right accusing the White House of softening its approach. Republican Senator Mike Lee suggesting he won't comply. Others calling it an absolutely disgusting betrayal. The White House's official line is, quote, nobody is changing the administration's immigration enforcement agenda, adding that President Trump's priority has always been deporting, in their words, illegal alien criminals. The big question, will the MAGA base actually punish the party for what appears to be a reversal? The rest of the president's second term may hang in the balance.
Garrett Haake is joining us now, and it's just so interesting on a lot of factors. Garrett, I'm going to toss you. Can I toss you a curveball? I know you won't be surprised if I do.
Do it.
Do we have any? I mean, because you make the point at the end, which I think is really salient here, that the way that Republicans are messaging on immigration is going to matter for the building down the street from you, right, the Capitol, and what happens for control of Congress, and for the building behind you in 3 more years or whatever in the election for the White House. Where is polling on that? Like, what is your sense as you talk to all these Republicans about this? Like, it feels like something they've got to kind of figure out quickly.
Yeah, look, to a certain degree, the president was the victim of his own success on this issue. The stuff about closing the border, about stopping illegal immigration at the border was and remains quite popular. But the longer interior enforcement has gone on and the tactics that have been used by ICE and by Border Patrol in the interior of the country, we've watched the president's approval rating on those questions go down and down and down and down. And I think the calculation that the White House is making here is that they can still reach the sort of vast middle of the country who cares about immigration, albeit not as much as the president does, by arguing that just going after the worst of the worst, going after the sort of the bad guys, if you will, is a majority building issue, even if it might be disappointing to some of their base. And they're essentially making the bet that that base will stick with them ultimately when it matters in a red versus blue election in November.
So then do you get the sense that Democrats are looking to make this or turn this into, a potential win for them? In other words, to take advantage of what could be a liability?
I've been wondering about the way that Democrats will approach this, because if you wanted to do it in a purely political way, they would essentially step back and let the administration continue to take these unpopular steps, having ICE out there, having Border Patrol out there, acting aggressively, and sort of, I would say, highlighting it more than fighting it. Instead, I think you've had the Democratic Party, try to shut down DHS to really get into the mud here, and the administration has backed off a little bit. Democrats can count that win, even if it means that this issue, which has become good for them, is now out of the spotlight to a certain extent.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.